What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk a little bit about some more things we should be doing in the offseason. I'm sorry about the not being able to get you guys content yesterday and waiting so long today. Did put out a tight end video here just a little while ago. Also going to get this to you guys here tonight. Trying to get you guys caught up on content. Been a busy time. Just moved. Thanksgiving was last week. Haven't been able to do as much content as I would have liked, but getting back to it. And here I want to talk a little bit about the defense, right? We've been talking about the biggest things to do in the offseason, kind of going through that list. We started with Gus Bradley, and we'll talk about that again. But then we talked about, again, tight ends. If you didn't see that video earlier, hey, go check that out after this video is over. But now we're going to talk about Gus Bradley, and we're going to talk about the defense, because for all the players on defense that are going to be moving on, right? There's a good chance, hey, EJ Speed might not be re-signed here. We could go look in a different direction. I think Jalen Carley's is somebody who's going to be a future at linebacker for the Colts. And so when you look at the defense and you see who could be leaving, who could be staying, you look at the talent on the defense, right? Even with who could be leaving, you look at the talent on the defense, which goes to, right, the Gus Bradley conversation and whether or not you keep him, and which is why that conversation will come back up. But right, I've always said that I think we have good talent on the defense, but we don't have a defensive coordinator that'll let the dogs off the leash, right? DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, Latu, Kwity Paye has flashes, right? Especially here lately, Kwity Paye seems to have really stepped up. Dio has shown his flashes. Julian Blackman, Nick Cross has massively improved. Jalen Jones is cornerback one. Kenny Moore. Like, we have so many good players on the defensive side. Like, I just literally named all the players, right? And of course, Zaire and EJ. I just named all the players. Sammy Walmack's over there too. Like, we have so many good players on defense. There's no reason we should give up the points we give up. There's no reason we should give up the yards we give up. And there was even a conversation a few weeks ago when the defense was performing better. There was a conversation a few weeks ago, and Gus Bradley was seemingly all proud of himself. Hey, we give up all these yards, but our points are typically lower, which is a cop-out. It's a cop-out. Go look at the best defenses in the league. They don't need cop-outs, right? Steelers, Chargers. These teams don't need cop-outs. They're just great all-around defenses. We have the players to be great all around. We do. We have dogs on defense. We don't have perfect players, but we have a bunch of dogs on defense. If you just let them off the leash, which is the analogy I've used all year, the analogy I'll continue to use because it fits perfectly, right, with where we are in today's world, right? Either this guy's a dog or this guy isn't, right? He got that dog in him or he doesn't. Just let the dogs off the leash and let them go be great. And we just don't have a defensive coordinator in Gus Bradley that's ever going to let that happen. We've seen at different times this year where we have blitzed more. I think overall the blitz percentage probably up if I had to guess. But at the end of the day, the defense it's the met between what Bill Belichick has said about this defense, other people that have been in the NFL or been around the NFL for a long time, what we've heard just from Gus Bradley about his defense. Like it's the most different metrics, different graphs that are out there. The most predictable defense in the NFL is Gus Bradley's defense. It is. It's the most predictable defense. So what do you think every quarterback at the NFL level is going to be able to do? Is pick apart a predictable defense. The only way we have success is if the front four can consistently get pressure. And when we've seen in today's NFL, that just doesn't work. So many of these systems that are predicated off the West Coast, right? The West Coast zone run system. A lot of zone schemes is what a lot of people play. And with the zone scheme, like, it sets up for a scheme just like Gus Bradley wants to run. He wants to be in that cover 3 scheme all the time. Now, he has mixed in more cover 2 from time to time, quarters, halves from time to time, a little bit of palms in there from time to time. Like, he'll do different things. But for the most part, his defense is predicated around what they do in the cover 3. So when you're really looking at it and you're looking at this Gus Bradley defense, it's like not only are you putting yourself behind the ball because you don't want to be aggressive. You like to run with the front four, which is great. And that's a great philosophy in theory if you have the front four to be able to run with it. But in today's NFL, you have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to run a different style of defense because teams against us, they just get the ball out of their hands quickly. We have good pass rushers. All right, quarterbacks out here getting their ball out of their hand in a second and a half. We have guys already turning the corner, ready to go hit the quarterback, getting their hand on the quarterback as he's throwing the ball away or as he's getting the ball out of his hands, right? But it's only been a second and a half. Most quarterbacks, you generally, the offense is better when you're going to be able to have 2.5, 3 seconds to be able to throw the ball. You can look, 10 yards plus down the field at that point, or have enough time to look down the field and come back to your check down, right? That's how most quarterbacks would like to work. Hey, let's go get the big play. Receivers want the big play. Right. But in today's NFL, teams are taking that away. But Gus Bradley doesn't have anything to counteract where we can play near the line of scrimmage while not giving up the deep shot. And of course, that's part of football, is just the yin and yang of, hey, if I want to stop this, there's a threat here. But Gus Bradley, he hasn't adjusted through the years. He's not going to adjust. We have all this talent on defense, seemingly a lot of talent on defense, and it's not working out now. There could be the aspect where I'm a Colts fan and I think these players are better than they are. Right, which I think from the outside looking in, people that don't know the Colts like us, like a lot of people would probably think that, especially when you look at the numbers. Right, the numbers are the numbers for a reason, and of course the players on the field have to execute. But for the offense, this is where the offense, if the players just executed more around Anthony Richardson, we'd be unstoppable on offense. But you don't see the other 10 guys consistently executing, right? And I should really probably leave Jonathan Taylor out of that. The other 9 guys, you don't consistently see the other 9 guys executing. Even Michael Pittman Jr., even Quentin Nelson, like these guys not consistently executing the way they need to in order for the offense to be great. And so from the offensive side, that's what it is. On the defensive side, it's that the coaches are not doing really their only job. The job of a coach is to put the players in the best position to win, the best position to succeed, which will lead you to winning, or should lead you to winning if you have the talent. And so seemingly we have the talent. We don't have the coaching that's putting the players in, getting the players in, saying, hey, this is what you're good at. This is what our players are great with. We're going to take advantage of that and we're going to go be great. Instead, it's, hey, we have all these players that Chris Ballard's getting us, and we're just going to go ahead and say, who cares what your real skill set is? You need to figure out how to do this and come play in my system that is outdated and doesn't work, right? And that's the hole we find ourselves in, right? We just made Drake May look like prime Tom Brady in his rookie season. And Drake May's looked good this year. For a rookie, he's looked good. He's had some ups and downs. The Patriots are not a good football team, but he has good numbers. Why? Because he's a decent quarterback. And to be completely honest, he's been playing a decent amount of teams, a lot like us. We're on defense. We're just not going to put up enough of a fight. And that's partly because the NFL is what the NFL is. But, man, then you see, when you watch the Lions play, the Lions have so many injuries on defense. And they're still great. Why? Because Aaron Glenn, whose defense has not been great for the Lions traditionally, over time he has adjusted. As he's been the defensive coordinator from year to year, he adjusts with the players that he has. His roster's gotten better. But again, so many great players on the injured reserve for the Lions on defense, they continue to be great. That's all I want as a Colts fan. We have so many great players. I feel like we have so many great players. And at the end of the day, I just want us to be a great defensive team. We're here in the Midwest. One of the things all Indiana sports get talked about, and there's not a whole lot of it, but all Indiana sports get accused and have always been accused of being too soft. And as a Colts fan, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of people saying that the Colts are too soft, right? That was like the Titans argument when they had Derrick Henry and they were winning against us most of the time. They were their fans and their team able to come out and say we were too soft, because they would just pound us and pound us and pound us and beat on us, and they'd win. And it just seems evident over the last few years we're too soft. And I don't think this is a soft team. Again, I think we have dogs. I think you need to let the dogs off the leash. And if you get a different, like, I don't know how realistic it is that you get Robert Saleh in the building, but if you get a guy that on defense, Robert Saleh likes to attack with his front four, but he's willing to be aggressive, and he's going to know his players, and he's going to look at his players and say, okay, this is what we're good at. This is what we can do here. This is how I can use this player. This is how I can use this player, and we're going to make this defense work for us, and we're going to be great. I believe Robert Saleh is the guy that can do that. Gus Bradley, we have enough tape on Gus Bradley to come out and say, hey, this dude he's going to do him. He doesn't care who you bring in, Mr. Ballard. He doesn't care. At the end of the day, he's going to play his system. He's going to mold these guys into his system instead of using these players for what they're being drafted to do, is to go be great, and to be great all-around player and be developed as an all-around player, not a, hey, I have this system, this position does this position does this position does this. That is not successful in today's NFL. You can't do it. You got to be multiple. You got to be able to be aggressive. You got to be able to sit back and still not give up the game. Right? I think that's a big thing. Like, situationally, Gus Bradley is terrible. In the worst situations, teams will just walk right down the field. You got to have it. We can't get it. We're going to let teams walk right down the field. You have a 2-score lead? Not anymore. Gus Bradley going to let this team walk right down the field and put up a touchdown and get all the momentum back on the other side. It's what Gus Bradley does. He's been around long enough. We all know it. We all see it. The conversation continues as we sit here in the bye week. It was time to talk about Gus Bradley, something we all know should be inevitable. See, there's a part of me that thinks that the Colts defense has so much talent that at different times they look unstoppable. And at those different times, will those different times make Gus Bradley or get Gus Bradley to keep his jobs? And people will still be like, oh, the defense just has to execute, when really they're just not being put in an advantageous position. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Will he go? Will he not? I think I know what you guys are thinking, but you let me know your thoughts. Should Gus Bradley be fired in the offseason or not? You let me know down in the comment section. I, of course, think we need to move on. Whole new defense, like whole new. I don't want a single defensive coach to stay. Just whole new defensive staff. Let's flip it. Let's get new blood in the building. Get new people around these players, and start to really rebuild this thing around Anthony Richardson and around the players that we have, with Shane Steichen going into his 3rd season as head coach. We got to get it done, man. And we're going to keep talking about what else needs to happen as the week continues. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, so you continue to get notified anytime we have any more videos coming out on this channel. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.